Ramadan Siddiqui welcomes you all to our channel Ras Sahara. You are watching our special program Desh Ki Baat. Today we have with us our special guest, Ambassador of Vietnam, His Excellency Mr. Phan Sanh Chau.
So our today motto is we just wanted to know what is the scope in Vietnam to Indian people, how they can involve in tourism business. So please explain.
Well, uh, tourism business is one of the most successful business in Vietnam. Over the past few years, we have observed an increase of 35% in terms of international arrivals to Vietnam. And last year, we see a breakthrough in Vietnamese tourism in general. And at the moment, as the end of the first 6 months of 2019, we have around more than 8 million international visitors visiting Vietnam. We hope that at the end of the year, we'll have around 16 to 17 million visitors internationally. When I mention that figure, you will be very surprised because the latest statistics of international visitors to India last year recorded at only 10.4 million people. So why we are so successful in the attracting international visitors? Because number one, Vietnam, like India, is a very beautiful country. We have white sandy beaches, long sandy beaches. We have high mountains. We have beautiful resort. We have also, like India, many UNESCO sites, cultural and natural UNESCO sites. Ha Long is one of the 7 new wonders. We also have a cultural and natural UNESCO site, which is a double crown UNESCO site. We also have other historic events like a museum on the wars or the Tunnel Cu Chi, which is very much associated with the war against the Americans before. And in addition to that, the Vietnamese people is very friendly and very hospitable. And more importantly, we have a lot of 5-star hotels, 4-star hotels. So we have more than 2,000 hotels of different categories. And if you have a good infrastructure, if you have a good people, if you have good services, you will be able to get more international visitors. But all the embassies of Vietnam overseas are tasked to attract more international visitors. Therefore, we don't have tourism representative like Thailand, Singapore, in some countries, because all the embassies and missions overseas are also assuming the task as the representative tourism office in the respective country. How about tourism between Vietnam and India? For the time being, India visitors to Vietnam remain limited as compared to the number of visitors coming from China, Japan, Korea, Southeast Asia, North America, or European countries, even Latin American countries. According to our latest statistic, we have around 100,000 visitors, international visitors from India to Vietnam, and the same number of Vietnamese visitors to India. Given the strong relationship between Vietnam and India, that number is very modest and very humble and undertapped. We are two big country. India has 130 crore population. Vietnam has nearly 10 crore population. So what is the barriers? The most important barriers is the lack of mutual understanding about our potential in tourism sector. A lot of Indians travel to Bangkok, Kuala Lumpur, Singapore, or Dubai, or Europe, but they never, or very few, went to Vietnam because they don't know much about Vietnam. They don't know that Vietnam has beautiful places of interest. Number two, there is still no direct air link. So without air connectivity, it's very difficult. The people, the travelers, they don't want to stop and wait long time in a transit point. Therefore, I'm very pleased to announce to you that in October, we will have a direct air link between Kolkata and Hanoi, operated by Indigo. And the time from Kolkata to Hanoi is around 2 hours, less than from Kolkata to New Delhi. You must be very surprised to learn that. And also at the end of October 2019 this year, Vietjet, which is a Indigo version of Vietnam, a budget airline of Vietnam, will fly New Delhi, Hanoi, New Delhi, Ho Chi Minh City every day, alternatively, and at a very good time slot, which means that you board at 11:30, you take a sleep, and you arrive Hanoi on the other side after less than 4 hours traveled in the evening. So with the direct connectivity, I'm sure that we'll be able to boost up tourism. But most importantly, my embassy organized road shows on the average 2-3 months, one show here in Delhi, in Bombay, in different places. And on the 28th of August, we are going to organize another big road show. And I hope that we are able to invite all of you to attend that, and especially you, a very precious channel. Thank you very much.
And what about, sir, please tell us a little bit about visa, tourist visa, and as industrial business point of view visa.
Yes, in terms of visa, we also facilitate Indian visa by launching a platform we call Welcome to Vietnam platform, operated by VFS. And with that platform, it takes you only 7 steps to fill in a form to get permission, and you will get a visa when you arrive. That's we call visa on arrival. And in terms of in terms of hospitality, everything is there. And interestingly, more and more Indian restaurants are opening up in Vietnam in order to entertain Indian guests. I know that for some Indian people, Vietnamese dishes is a little bit difficult because it's less spicy. Number 2, because it's a little bit dry. Indian dishes are more juicy or more fatty. Therefore, that they will be there to serve you, especially Vietnamese curry dishes.
And one question is rising: in Indian manufacture of some kind of few are manufacturing of clothes, few are in cosmetic, few are in some home appliances. What is the scope in Vietnam if they want to export there, or if they want to start a business there?
Before moving to talk about
which type of product Vietnam required?
Before talking about the required product that Indian can export to Vietnam, let me mention that there is a growing tendency of Indian visitors to go to Vietnam for wedding. Recently, we have organized a fabulous Indian wedding, and you know very well Indian wedding mean what?
Yeah.
And it lasts 1 week, 11 functions with 700 participants and 55 Indian cooks, and that draw a lot of attention in Vietnam. And now we also focus on resort and golfing and MICE destination. MICE tourism is also very important for Vietnam, and I hope that Vietnam can offer to Indian visitors this destination of Indian wedding, Indian MICE, Indian golfing. Now I talk about business between the two countries. Actually, our economy are at the same stage of development. Therefore, some we can be complementary, but some we are competitive, to be very honest. When you talk about clothes, Vietnam is one of the major clothes and textile exporters. We have very good garment product, and it is one of the top exporters product in Vietnam. And our major market is the US market, European market, and Japan market.
So we can import there Vietnamese clothes.
So Indian can import from Vietnam if you wish.
Yeah.
But I think that is where we are very same level.
Okay.
But another matter is that seafood that we import a lot from Indian in order to process and to re-export to European market or USA market, because Vietnam just signed a free trade agreement with the European Union, and Vietnam just ratified a TPP, which is a free trade agreement which encompasses 11 countries. But there are a number of strong sectors that India can export to Vietnam. For instance, all the solar energy related product, or the panel, the module, which India is one of the best producers in the world, and India is a leading country in this sector. Another area is pharmaceutical. Pharmaceutical, especially genetic pharmaceutical, is very popular. At the moment, we are discussing market access for this product, for Indian product to get into Vietnam. In addition to that, I think that we can export to each other a number of other items, like we also need raw material. We buy cotton from India. We buy a lot of marbles and a lot of natural herbs. So those things are quite popular in Vietnam. And Vietnam also export a number of consumption products to India. And in a nutshell, we have a lot of things to do together in terms of export and import between our two countries. We have a target of 15 billion US dollar to achieve. That target was set up by the leaders, Prime Minister Modi and our Prime Minister Nguyễn Xuân Phúc during Prime Minister Modi visit to Vietnam 3 years back. We are now 12 billion. So we still have 1.5 years to go in order to fulfill the target figure that our two leaders have set up for our two nations.